Okay, welcome to your first CSS3 tutorial. This tutorial will actually be an introduction to CSS3, describing what it is and how you can use it in your web pages or web applications. Now, CSS3 is a revised version of CSS 2.1. It's actually interesting to know that work on CSS3 began way back in 1998. Yes, that's 1998. That's a long time in internet years. However, throughout those years, work on CSS3 has been a runaround process, leading to the W3C, which is the standards body that oversees the standardization of CSS, to completely overhaul all work on CSS3 in 2005 to start all over from the beginning. Okay, now so till this day, presently, okay, CSS3 is still under active development. However, most of the CSS properties are already implemented by most of the modern browsers and are available for developers to use it within their web applications. Now, the CSS specification is made up of revised properties and newly created properties. Now, one of the main things you need to take into consideration is the fact that CSS3 is made up of modules. Okay, now there are modules such as CSS color module or CSS namespaces, which are both complete. Okay, and there are other modules such as CSS text and CSS 3D transformations, which are still under revision. But like I said, even though the properties or modules are under revision, most of these are already implemented by most of the modern browsers, so you can you could go ahead and use them in your websites or web applications. Okay. Now, with everything in this world, like there are exceptions. In this case, it's Internet Explorer, okay, which is the slowest of the modern browsers to slowest at implementing CSS3 properties. Okay, but a lot of them are you can still use a number of these properties within Internet Explorer, but we will be covering that in further tutorials. Okay, so that in mind, let's work on our first CSS property. With our first CSS property, we will be looking at the CSS box sizing property. So let's create two elements on the page here to illustrate this. Our first element, let's give it an ID of ELEM1, and let's say this is ELEM element ENT. Can't even spell element. ENT element 1. Okay, let's copy this. Copy this one more time to put down another element. Let's say this is element 2, and let's go over and give these two elements some style, ELEM1, and we're going to give it a width. Let's say give it a width of 200 pixels and a height of 200 pixels as well. And let's copy this as well, and let's copy this down, and let's give this element 2, and let's say 200. Let's give these some background colors as well. CLR, let's give it a color of blue, and let's give this one a color, background color, I can't even type today, background color of gray. Okay, Control S to save, and let's preview this in the browser. Okay, we have our two elements here, first element and our second element. They are both 200 pixels in height and 200 pixels in width. Now, to illustrate the box model, I think I went over this in previous tutorials, but this is a new series of CSS3, so I'm just going to go over it quickly. Now, to illustrate the box sizing property, which falls under the CSS box model, let's go ahead and give element 1 some padding. So we're going to say padding, let's say 15 pixels all the way around. Watch what happens when you refresh the page. The element size actually increases, okay, because the default box sizing property for any element is the default box sizing value for any element is content box. Okay, meaning that the size of the element is measured from its content. So as we declare 200 pixels, the size is actually 200 pixels, excluding borders and padding. So if we go ahead and we put in any border or any, let's put in a padding, we put in any border or let's put in a border, any border or any padding, let's say border 5px solid black. If we put in any border or any padding, that will add to the 200 pixels, so it will increase the size. So we had padding 15 pixels on the left, 15 pixels on the right, so that's 200 plus 30, which is 230 pixels, plus 5 pixels for the border on the left and 5 pixels for the right, so that's 240 pixels. So now the element has increased 240 pixels, but we wanted our element width to be 200 pixels. Now to rectify this, we need to change the box sizing, the default box sizing property, which is content box. We need to change it to border box. So we say box sizing, and we give it the value of border box. Okay, Control S to save, and let's preview it. As you can see here, the element is now it actually looks like it's the 200 pixels we previously defined, because the box sizing value is border box, meaning the element size is measured from its border, including padding and borders. Okay, so that it's 200 pixels including padding and borders, which represents the actual size we wanted earlier on. Now let's go over to Firefox to explain something else. Okay, now let's copy this address right here. What should happen if I load that same page into Firefox? It displays the padding, it displays the box sizing as content box as we had previously. So what we need to do here, let's just push this over to the left, the right. What we need to do here is add the prefix for Mozilla, which is Mozilla's Firefox. So we go Moz, M-O-Z, box sizing, and we're going to say border box. Control S to save, and let's preview this. Let's refresh the page. As you can see here, it's now border box as well. And Internet Explorer takes the we don't really need an extension extension for Internet Explorer, because it uses the box sizing, this box sizing property right here. Okay, so this is it right here. Okay, so this is our introduction to CSS3. In this introduction, we covered our first CSS3 property, which is the box sizing property. Okay, so thank you for watching this tutorial, and do ensure you subscribe, and I will see you in further tutorials. Thank you.